There comes a point in life where noise no longer impresses you. The applause fades. The validation of people no longer defines your peace. You realize that wisdom grows in silence. And maturity is not about how much you say, but about what you choose not to say. In your old age, you don't need to prove who you are anymore. You've already lived through storms that others are still trying to survive. You've already fought battles that younger voices are still learning to identify. Now is the time to focus on yourself, to pour into your peace, to guard your energy, and to protect your spirit from unnecessary noise. Wisdom does not shout, it speaks in silence. That's the difference between those who merely grow older and those who truly grow wiser. You see, as you mature, you begin to realize that life doesn't reward the loudest voice in the room. It rewards the most disciplined heart, the calmest mind, and the most discerning spirit. There's a power in silence that the immature cannot comprehend. When you're young, you think that every attack requires a response, every rumor deserves a correction, and every disrespect demands a reaction. But as you evolve, you learn that silence is not weakness. It's the highest form of control. It means you are no longer driven by emotion, you are guided by revelation. When you reach a certain stage in life, you stop arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You no longer explain yourself to those who are determined not to hear you, because wisdom whispers what noise cannot teach. It teaches you that not every storm is meant to be fought. Some storms are meant to be observed, endured, and outlasted. Silence becomes your weapon, your protection, and your teacher. You realize that peace is not the absence of noise, it is the ability to remain unmoved by it. Have you ever noticed that the strongest trees make no sound when they grow? They rise slowly, steadily, quietly. And yet their roots go deep. That's how wisdom operates. The noisy trees fall in storms, but the quiet ones stand tall after the wind is gone. In life, you must learn to grow quietly. The world may not clap for you, but that's fine. The roots are being formed in silence. The roots of understanding, patience, and maturity. And one day, those roots will hold you when the storms of life come. When you are young, you talk more because you think your words prove your worth. You want to be heard. You want to be seen. But when life has humbled you, when you've walked through pain, betrayal, and disappointment, you learn that speaking less protects your spirit. You don't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. You've already survived too much to waste energy on small battles. You discover that silence keeps your power safe, because every time you react, you spend energy. Every time you argue, you leak focus. Every time you explain yourself to people who have no interest in truth, you give them access to your peace. Wisdom is knowing when to talk and when to walk away. It's knowing that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is smile and stay quiet. Let them think what they want. The truth always reveals itself in time. You don't need to shout your value when your results speak for themselves. A diamond doesn't announce its worth. It just shines. And when you know who you are, you don't need to remind anyone. Your life becomes your statement. Look around you. The world is filled with people desperate to be heard, desperate to prove, desperate to be right. But rarely do you see someone who has mastered the art of stillness. Stillness doesn't mean inactivity. It means clarity. It's the space between reaction and revelation. It's the quiet strength that says, I don't need to fight this, I'll outlast it. That's what wisdom looks like. It's power under control. Think of a lion. A lion doesn't roar all day to prove it's the king of the jungle. It walks with confidence, hunts with precision, and rests with authority. Its silence is its strength. Likewise, when you become wise, you no longer chase recognition. You simply live from purpose. People who talk less and think deeply often see more, feel more, and understand more. Because silence sharpens perception. It allows you to hear what others miss. Not just words, but motives. Not just noise, but meaning. There's something deeply spiritual about silence. It's in the quiet moments that life reveals its greatest truths. You start hearing the whisper of your intuition. You start sensing the direction of your purpose. You realize that every disappointment was redirection, every rejection was protection, and every delay was preparation. And you wouldn't have understood that if you were too busy talking. That's why silence is a teacher. It shows you what noise hides. Wisdom also teaches you to observe before you respond. When someone insults you, silence allows you to see their pain instead of reacting to their words. When someone betrays you, silence allows you to process rather than explode. When life becomes uncertain, silence allows you to listen for divine guidance instead of panicking in fear. Those who rush to speak often reveal their ignorance. Those who wait to listen uncover truth. The wisest people are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who are humble enough to say nothing until the right moment. Because timing is everything. Words spoken too early can destroy what silence could have protected. And sometimes silence speaks louder than any explanation ever could. It says, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it. In a world full of noise, your silence will confuse people. They'll wonder why you don't react. They'll misinterpret your peace as weakness. But that's fine. Wisdom doesn't need to be understood to be effective. Your calm is your crown. Your restraint is your power. The older you get, the more you'll see that not every response deserves your voice. Not every question deserves your answer. And not every conflict deserves your participation. So you choose silence, not because you have nothing to say, but because not everything is worth saying. You've learned that words have weight, and the more you speak, the less power they carry. So you conserve your strength for what truly matters. That's what wise people do. They don't waste words, they invest them. And they know that silence at the right moment can shake a room louder than 1,000 speeches. Protect your energy, it's your most valuable currency. When you wake up every morning, you are given a limited supply of strength, focus, peace, and passion for that day. It's your spiritual currency, the invisible fuel that drives your purpose. Yet most people spend it carelessly, on gossip, on arguments, on negativity, on people who drain them and never pour back. They give away their energy to things that don't grow them, to relationships that don't honor them, to conversations that don't benefit them. And then they wonder why they feel empty, frustrated, and unfulfilled. You must understand, your energy is not cheap. It is the essence of your being. If you keep giving it to the wrong people and the wrong environments, you will end up spiritually bankrupt. Life will always have people who try to pull you into their chaos. They'll come to you with complaints, with drama, with distractions. They'll make their storm your home. But you must learn to guard your atmosphere. You can care for people without carrying their weight. You can love people deeply and still say no when it threatens your peace. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is sacred. It is how you preserve your purpose. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, and you cannot help anyone if you are constantly drained. Think about how a phone works. No matter how advanced, how beautiful, how expensive it is, if the battery dies, it becomes useless. The same goes for your spirit. You can be talented, gifted, anointed, and wise, but if you keep allowing people to drain you with their negativity, you lose power. Protect your charge. Protect your atmosphere. Protect your spirit. Some people come into your life not to grow you, but to use your energy to feed their emptiness. They take your kindness for weakness, your time for granted, and your presence as an unlimited resource. You must learn to recognize energy vampires, people who drain you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You'll know them because after every conversation with them, you feel tired, heavy, and uninspired. And sometimes you don't need to confront them. You just need to distance yourself quietly. You are not obligated to participate in every emotional battle that presents itself. You don't need to defend yourself every time someone misunderstands you. Sometimes silence is the greatest form of protection. When you stop reacting, you starve negativity of its power. There's a freedom that comes when you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Let them think what they want. You don't owe anyone your peace. Protect it like it's gold, because it is. You also have to be careful with what you expose your mind to. Every piece of information, every word, every image carries energy. What you watch, what you listen to, what you talk about, it all feeds or depletes your spirit. If you constantly feed on gossip, fear, and chaos, your inner peace will reflect that. But when you guard what enters your mind, when you choose positivity, wisdom, and inspiration, your energy becomes magnetic. You start attracting peace instead of conflict, clarity instead of confusion, progress instead of pain. Energy attracts energy. Protect yours so that you only draw what aligns with your destiny. In life, not everyone deserves access to you. You can't let everyone sit at your table because not everyone is bringing food. Some are just coming to eat. Some relationships are seasonal, and holding on to them longer than their purpose drains your future. You have to discern who adds value and who subtracts peace. Pay attention to how you feel after you leave someone's presence. Do you feel inspired or do you feel heavy? Do they challenge you to grow or do they drain your motivation? Your emotions are the indicators of energy exchange. Trust them. Even your environment has a voice. The places you go, the atmosphere you sit in, they either recharge you or reduce you. You can't heal in an environment that keeps reopening your wounds. Sometimes protecting your energy means changing your scenery, your habits, your circle, even your routine. If you want peace, you must intentionally build it. Don't wait for calm to find you, create it. Start saying no without feeling guilty. Start resting without apologizing. Start loving yourself enough to leave spaces that no longer honor your growth. Protecting your energy also means managing your focus. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every door that opens is from God. Some open doors are distractions dressed as blessings. You must ask yourself, does this add to my peace or take from it? Because anything that steals your peace will eventually steal your purpose. The enemy of focus is not always failure. It's distraction. And distraction often comes disguised as something good. That's why you must be selective with your attention. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Every successful, peaceful, and wise person has mastered this art, the art of protecting their atmosphere. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They know when to engage and when to withdraw. They understand that preservation is not fear, it's wisdom. You don't have to be everywhere with everyone doing everything. That's how you lose yourself. Protect your solitude. It's in your solitude that you hear the whispers of clarity. It's in your stillness that you recharge your inner power. When you start protecting your energy, you'll notice that certain people will say you've changed. They're right, you have. You've stopped allowing others to drain your joy, your time, your focus. You've stopped trying to fix people who have no desire to grow. You've stopped sacrificing your peace just to keep others comfortable. That's not pride, that's growth. You finally realize that you are not responsible for everyone's happiness. You are responsible for your peace, your purpose, and your presence. Your energy is your life force. Without it, even the greatest opportunities will feel like burdens. With it, even the smallest steps become breakthroughs. You cannot afford to let anyone dim your light or drain your drive. Protect it, guard it, value it. Because once your energy is gone, everything else begins to crumble. Your passion, your creativity, your clarity, your peace. And no one will give it back to you. You must choose every single day to protect it like your destiny depends on it. Because it does. Silence is a sign of inner strength. Most people believe that power is shown through words, through noise, through visible action. But true power is not loud, it's controlled. It's calm, it's deliberate. It's the ability to stay composed when everything around you is trying to shake your peace. The world has taught people to react, to clap back, to defend themselves, to respond instantly to offense. But when you've matured, when life has taught you through pain, you realize that silence is not weakness. It's wisdom wearing a crown. It's saying, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it to anyone. You can always tell how strong a person is by what it takes to shake their peace. Weak people explode easily. They can't stand to be misunderstood, so they rush to speak. They can't handle being disrespected, so they fight for validation. But strong people have learned to stand still even when provoked. They've learned that peace is not given by others, so it cannot be stolen by others. Silence is not ignoring life, it's mastering it. It's choosing to rise above the noise instead of drowning in it. Think of how mountains behave. They don't speak, they don't move, they don't argue, yet they command awe. People climb them, admire them, respect them, not because they're loud, but because they stand firm. That's what silence does to your spirit. It makes you unshakable. It roots you so deeply that even when winds blow and storms roar, you remain grounded in who you are. There will come moments in life when people test your patience, when betrayal tries to break your trust, when false accusations try to stain your name. The natural response is to fight back, to defend yourself, to prove your innocence. But those who have grown in strength understand that sometimes silence speaks louder than explanations, because time has a way of revealing what truth cannot hide. When you stay calm, the truth eventually stands up for you. You don't have to scream it. Life will prove it. There's something powerful about the one who refuses to be moved by the chaos of others. When someone insults you and you smile, you confuse them. When they expect you to fight and you stay quiet, you take away their control. Silence is strength because it refuses to give the enemy access to your emotions. It's emotional discipline, the highest form of self-mastery. You're not suppressing your feelings, you're managing your power. You're deciding that your peace is too expensive to spend on nonsense. Every day, life gives you opportunities to react. Someone cuts you off in traffic, someone disrespects you, someone lies about you, someone ignores your efforts. And every time you react in anger, you give away your energy to something beneath you. But when you hold your peace, you're saying, my destiny is too important to waste on this. You're not avoiding conflict because you're scared. You're choosing peace because you're powerful. Look at water. When it's calm, it reflects the sky perfectly. You can see the stars, the moon, your own reflection. But when it's disturbed, it becomes cloudy, distorted, and dangerous. That's how the human spirit works. When you let anger, pride, and frustration stir your heart, you lose clarity. You stop seeing things as they are. Silence keeps you still enough to reflect wisdom. That's why strong people are quiet. They're busy observing, learning, and calculating the right move. People who are loud about everything often reveal more than they should. They react before they understand. They speak before they think. And in doing so, they lose credibility. Silence gives you power because it teaches you patience. And patience gives you perspective. The one who can wait always wins because they see what others miss. While others waste their strength fighting every small battle, you conserve yours for what truly matters. Imagine a lion walking through the jungle. It doesn't roar at every animal it passes. It doesn't respond to the bark of dogs or the chatter of monkeys. It moves in silence, majestic, confident, unstoppable. It only roars when it's time to act. That's the beauty of inner strength. You don't have to announce yourself. Your presence speaks louder than your words ever could. In a world where everyone feels the need to explain, defend, and react, your silence will make you stand out. People will wonder why you don't respond, why you don't clap back, why you seem unmoved by what others would break under. It's because silence is not the absence of thought, it's the presence of control. You've learned that you don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You've learned that not every battle deserves your roar. There's power in letting go of the need to be understood. You don't have to clear your name. You don't have to justify your decisions. Those who truly know your heart don't need proof, and those who doubt you won't believe it anyway. So you let time do what words cannot. You focus on your growth. You pour your energy into your purpose, and eventually your success becomes your defense. Silence also gives you spiritual strength. When you're quiet, you can finally hear the voice of wisdom inside you. You can sense direction, feel peace, and discern truth. Noise blocks intuition, but silence amplifies it. That's why wise people don't rush to respond. They take time to think, to listen, to observe. They don't let emotion drive their decisions. They let discernment lead the way. Sometimes silence is also protection. There are people who wait for your words just to twist them. There are situations where speaking will only deepen the wound. And there are seasons where your peace is more valuable than your point. In those moments, silence becomes your armor. It shields your mind, guards your emotions, and keeps your power intact. Every great leader, every wise elder, every person of true influence has learned this truth. You don't have to make noise to make impact. Power that is real doesn't need to announce itself. It moves with quiet confidence. It doesn't argue, it demonstrates. It doesn't react, it responds. And sometimes it doesn't even respond, it just moves forward, leaving the noise behind. So when life pushes you to react, pause. When people misunderstand you, breathe. When everything in you wants to fight back, remember. Silence doesn't mean surrender. It means strength under control. It means peace has more value to you than pride. It means you've mastered the art of power without aggression, authority without anger, and strength without sound. Your peace is your biggest achievement. Not the house, not the title, not the applause. Peace. Because when you finally reach a place in life where your mind is calm, your heart is steady, and your spirit is undisturbed, you have conquered what money cannot buy. Many people chase success, but very few find peace. They think peace is something that will come after the promotion, after the marriage, after the achievement. But peace doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. Peace is created when your heart decides to stop fighting battles that don't matter. It's when you no longer let the noise of the world disturb the quiet within you. There was a time in life when you thought winning meant proving a point. You argued to be understood. You fought to be right. You stayed up at night thinking about who betrayed you, who doesn't like you, who didn't support you. But as you grew, you learned that peace is walking away from what tries to steal your sanity. Peace is saying, I don't need to win this argument to be free. It's realizing that your inner calm is more valuable than being right in someone else's eyes. You can always tell who's truly successful by how calm they are. When you meet people who have peace, they glow differently. They move with a quiet confidence. They don't compete. They don't chase. They don't fight for attention. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're too busy protecting their peace. Because peace is not passive. It's powerful. It means you have learned to master your emotions, to guard your mind, and to choose your responses with wisdom instead of impulse. Life will always give you opportunities to lose your peace. Someone will offend you. Someone will gossip about you. Something will not go your way. The world will keep throwing noise at you, hoping to pull you out of your calm. But when you've reached a place of true maturity, you begin to treat your peace like a treasure. You stop letting little things move you. You stop letting small minds distract you. You understand that sometimes silence is stronger than confrontation, and walking away is more powerful than winning. Think about it. What's the point of having everything if you can't sleep at night? What's the value of money if your mind is restless? What's the purpose of success if your heart is heavy? There are people who drive luxury cars but have no rest in their souls. There are people who live in mansions but can't find a moment of stillness. True wealth is peace, because when you have peace, you see clearly, you make better decisions, and you live longer. Stress kills the body, but peace revives the spirit. Peace doesn't mean that life is perfect. It means you've learned how to remain calm even when it isn't. You've learned to stop fighting every storm and start flowing with wisdom. You've learned that not every battle deserves your energy, not every argument deserves your reply, and not every wound deserves your attention. Sometimes peace is simply saying, I choose me. It's looking at chaos and deciding, I will not let this enter my spirit. That's strength. That's maturity. That's success. When you start valuing peace, you begin to see life differently. You stop rushing. You stop competing. You stop explaining yourself to people who never intended to understand you. You begin to appreciate silence, solitude, and stillness. You start finding beauty in slow mornings, quiet evenings, and meaningful conversations. You begin to realize that joy isn't found in noise, it's found in balance. And the older you get, the more you realize that peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. There's power in saying no. There's power in stepping back. There's power in refusing to be dragged into drama that doesn't serve your destiny. Protecting your peace will cost you something. It will cost you people, habits, and sometimes opportunities. But it will also give you something greater: clarity, strength, and a deeper connection with yourself. Because when your mind is peaceful, your spirit becomes magnetic. You start attracting better people, better opportunities, and better outcomes. Every storm in life tests your peace. When people disappoint you, peace says, I release them. When plans fall apart, peace says, it's okay, something better is coming. When others misunderstand you, peace says, time will reveal the truth. That's what peace sounds like. It's the quiet voice of wisdom that reminds you to trust the process instead of forcing outcomes. And when you learn to live like that, you become unshakable. Look at nature. The ocean doesn't stop being the ocean because of waves. The sky doesn't stop being the sky because of clouds. In the same way, don't lose your peace because of temporary situations. You are still who you are even when things get rough. You can still stand tall, still smile, still breathe. Peace is when you stop letting the outside world control your inner world. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. People will test you. Life will stretch you. Situations will challenge you. But the one who remains calm is always the strongest in the room, because peace is power under control. It's the ability to stay grounded while others lose balance. It's choosing to protect your heart even when your pride wants to react. It's knowing that you don't have to shout to be strong, and you don't have to fight to prove that you've won. So every day you wake up, ask yourself one thing: is this worth my peace? Is this argument, this person, this thought worth disturbing my calm? Most of the time, the answer will be no. So breathe, let it go, and return to your stillness. Because when you protect your peace, everything around you aligns with it. You start walking differently, talking differently, thinking differently. Peace becomes your greatest achievement, not because the world gave it to you, but because you built it from within. Legacy speaks louder than words. At some point in life, you realize that people won't remember everything you said. They will remember what you did. They will remember how you made them feel, the principles you stood for, the lives you impacted, and the footprints you left behind. Words fade, but character echoes. You can talk about greatness all day, but it's the evidence of consistency, love, and purpose that defines your legacy. What are you leaving behind when you walk out of a room? What remains after you're gone? Those are the questions that separate people who merely existed from those who truly lived. Every action you take is a seed being planted in the soil of time. You might think nobody's watching, but someone always is. Your children, your coworkers, your friends, even strangers who cross your path, they're learning from your attitude, your response, your values. And one day, they'll imitate what you've shown them. That's why legacy isn't something you build at the end of your life. It's something you're building right now, every single day. When you show kindness in a world filled with arrogance, that's legacy. When you keep your integrity in moments of pressure, that's legacy. When you forgive when you could have fought back, that's legacy. You don't need to be rich or famous to have a legacy. Legacy is not about the size of your bank account. It's about the depth of your impact. There are people who die unknown, but have changed hundreds of lives because of how they lived. There are teachers who never stood on stages, but raised generations of thinkers. There are parents who never had fame, but raised children who carried wisdom into the world. That's legacy. It's not about being remembered by millions. It's about being remembered meaningfully by the ones who truly matter. Think about this. People may forget your name, but they will never forget how you treated them. You can say 1,000 words, but if your actions contradict your message, your legacy becomes noise. A good name is not built through talk, it's built through time. It's how you carry yourself when nobody's watching. It's what you do when you could get away with doing wrong, but choose to do right anyway. That's the power of silent integrity. That's the foundation of a lasting legacy. There are people who speak about greatness, but live in mediocrity because their values shift with convenience. But the ones who live by principle leave a mark that outlasts generations. Think of the old grandmother who prayed for her family every night, even when nobody thanked her. Think of the father who worked 2 jobs so his children could have a better future. Think of the leader who chose truth over popularity. These people may never trend on social media, but their legacy is eternal because their lives spoke louder than their words ever could. Legacy is not built overnight, it's built through choices. It's built in the moments when you choose patience instead of anger, humility instead of pride, and persistence instead of quitting. Every sacrifice, every lesson, every act of love contributes to the story people will tell about you when you're gone. One day, when people speak your name, they will either talk about what you gave or what you took. They will either remember your impact or your indifference. You're writing that story right now through the way you live. Sometimes legacy means standing alone. It means doing what's right when it's not popular. It means saying no when everyone expects you to say yes. Because the truth is, legacy is built in lonely places. It's in those moments when you decide that your values matter more than applause. People may not understand you now, but one day they'll respect what you stood for. The same people who question your discipline today will teach it to their children tomorrow. That's how legacy works. It often starts unappreciated, but it ends unforgettable. Look around and you'll see that many people are chasing recognition instead of purpose. But recognition fades, purpose remains. Legacy is not about how loud your name is, it's about how long your influence lasts. You don't need to be on stage to change lives. Sometimes the greatest legacies are built in silence, through mentorship, through love, through quiet leadership. You don't have to announce what you're doing. Just live in a way that speaks when you're no longer there to explain. When you build a legacy, you stop living for the moment and start living for meaning. You think differently. You realize that every decision has a consequence, every action carries a message, and every day adds another line to your story. So you begin to live intentionally. You speak with kindness because you know words leave marks. You work with excellence because you know mediocrity dies quickly. You love deeply because you understand that hearts remember more than minds. Legacy is not just about leaving something behind. It's about leaving something within people. It's about transferring wisdom, courage, and compassion to the next generation. You may never meet the people your influence will touch, but your life will ripple through time. A word of encouragement can save a soul. A single act of faith can inspire generations. Every choice you make either strengthens or weakens the legacy you're creating. And one day, when life slows down and you look back, you'll realize that the greatest success is not what you accumulated, but what you contributed. You'll remember not the trophies, but the transformations. Not the applause, but the impact. The quiet moments where you chose to love when it was hard, to give when you had little, to believe when everything looked hopeless. That's where your legacy was born. Because long after you're gone, people may not quote your words, but they will live by your example. There comes a moment in life when you stop running after recognition and start walking in revelation, the revelation that peace, purpose, and legacy are more valuable than applause. You realize that silence is not weakness, it's strength under control. You stop explaining your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop chasing validation from those who never saw your value in the first place. Because when you've lived long enough, you understand that real growth happens in quiet seasons. The loudest victories are often won in silence. When you reach that stage of maturity, you no longer argue with people who refuse to see. You just smile, step back, and let time reveal what truth already knows. You understand that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Your life will speak for itself. Let them talk, let them assume, let them criticize. While they gossip, you grow. While they doubt, you build. While they watch, you rise. Because one thing about silent strength, it doesn't need attention to be powerful. It just keeps moving quietly, consistently, purposefully. You begin to understand that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every voice deserves a response. And not every invitation deserves your presence. You stop wasting your peace on noise. You protect your energy like it's gold because you realize your peace is your power. People may call you distant, but you're not distant. You're disciplined. You're not cold. You're focused. You're not selfish. You're finally healing. You've learned that silence doesn't mean you've given up. It means you've grown up. And as you grow older, you begin to see life differently. You realize that happiness is not found in crowds, but in clarity. It's not in having many people around you, but in having the right ones beside you. You stop explaining your decisions because people who love you will understand without explanation, and those who don't know explanation will ever be enough. You stop fighting to be understood and start living to be at peace, because when your soul is at peace, no storm can shake you. When your heart is focused, no distraction can move you. There's a powerful freedom that comes with maturity. The freedom to walk away without anger, to remain kind in the face of disrespect, to choose silence when chaos surrounds you. That's not weakness, that's mastery. That's emotional intelligence. That's wisdom in motion. You don't have to shout your value anymore. Your calm confidence will do it for you. You don't have to chase love anymore. Your peace will attract what's meant for you. In this life, learn to guard your peace like a treasure. Learn to value your silence like a weapon. The older you get, the more you realize that not everyone deserves access to your heart. Not everyone deserves a response from your spirit. And not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people are lessons, not lifelong companions. Let them go gracefully. Release them silently, because your destiny doesn't need an audience. It needs focus. And when the world tests you, because it will, remember this peace is not the absence of storms, it's the ability to remain calm within them. True wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. True success is waking up with peace in your heart, gratitude in your spirit, and purpose in your step. Life isn't about being seen, it's about being stable. It's not about being known, it's about being fulfilled. It's not about proving who you are, it's about becoming who you were created to be. So when you reach that season of life where the noise gets loud but your soul stays calm, understand this: you've arrived at a place of power, a place where silence speaks louder than words, a place where peace becomes your protection and wisdom becomes your weapon. You've learned that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You've learned that quiet strength will always outlast loud chaos. Walk in that peace. Guard it. Protect it. Live it. Because when you can sit in silence and still feel whole, when you can be alone and still feel complete, when you can walk away and still feel free, that's when you've truly mastered life. You're not running anymore, you're reigning. You're not chasing approval anymore. You're walking in purpose. You're not living to impress. You're living to impact. And when you finally understand that the greatest sound of victory is the silence of peace, you'll know you have won.